Babe of the day. Babe of the day. Christmas Babes of the Day, 2025 edition. I made a Christmas video in 2024 that people seemed to like, so I thought I'd have another go at it this year. Yvonne Craig, TB's Batgirl, of course. I've made a number of videos about Yvonne Craig, and people like them. A big holiday thank you to everyone who keeps checking her out. Pat Priest, the Marilyn Munster, in a sexy Santa outfit. There was a girl who played Marilyn before Pat Priest, and a number of girls who played Marilyn after the classic series, but for most of the time the Munsters was on the air, Pat Priest was Marilyn Munster, and to me, she will always be the standard. Angie Griffin. She's a cosplay girl with a large internet presence. She's one of those girls that makes you involuntarily belt out, "Good grief," when you see her picture. I particularly like this Christmas photo. Connie Francis. I'm a huge Connie Francis fan. She was such a good singer and actress. I thought she had a real strength for comedy, and believe she should have pursued that more. She looked good in her various costumes, and this, for sure, rates as one of her greatest. Jayne Mansfield. She's another popular subject here at Babe of the Day. The thing with Jayne Mansfield is that you could make her look good for any occasion. If there was such a thing as Potato Sack Day, I'm sure she could still do some sexy pictures. Giovanni. She was a professional wrestler with WWE for less than a year, a victim of budget cuts. She has made rare appearances in WWE from 2009 to 2018. Outside of that, she has done a little bit of acting. She currently works as a psychic medium and hosts a podcast. Rigid Tools Girl, December 1967. I don't know the name of the model, but this is a great photo for their 1967 calendar. Rigid Tools had a lot of girls for their calendars, and some of them became well known later on. Not for nothing, but that kind of Christmas lights was always the best. And hey, you could replace the bulbs if one burnt out. Awesome! Belinda Lee. She was a British actress who died in a car accident at the much too soon age of 25. Despite her short time on Earth, she had a respectable career and was in a lot of stuff. Belinda tried to be a serious actress, but found more work playing sexy parts in comedies. A lot of people, since her death say that if she was handled properly, she could have had a better career. My response to that is, she was only 25 freaking years old. Had she not died in a car crash, she could have had as big of a career as anyone. She was just getting started, even though she had been acting for 7 years. I thought she had scorching good looks. Had she lived just a little bit longer, when the James Bond spy craze started, I think she would have found her niche playing sexy heroines or femme fatales in action thrillers. Jessica Nigri. She is a cosplay artist and model who has had a very, very good career and a huge internet following. She has even gotten into voice acting. I'll admit, she looks great in her costumes, but most of her costumes are of weird characters in anime and video games that I don't recognize. This photo, however, is one that I think everyone will get. Feel the Joy Girl. I don't know her name, but any girl with a sense of humor like this is a babe. This is just funny. Anita Ekberg. One of the most classically beautiful actresses of all time. She had a very good career, matched only by the notoriety of her private life. Anita was wild. She liked men. A lot. And it didn't matter if they were married or if she was married. She was the living embodiment of the dysfunctional starlet. Mounting in interviews, confrontations with the paparazzi. It did cost her some acting jobs that could have made her an even bigger star. She was considered for the role of first Bond girl in Dr. No, but the part ultimately went to Ursula Andress, making her a huge star. As difficult as Anita was, she was still quite enjoyable in photos and on screen. Olivia Hussey. She was a very pretty actress who made her breakthrough as a teenager in the legendary film version of Romeo and Juliet. After that, she did a lot of horror, sci-fi, and action movies and TV shows, with a few comedies thrown in for good measure. One of her most famous movies, after Romeo and Juliet, is the horror film Black Christmas. It's notable for being one of the earliest slasher movies, as well as for its cast of then unknown actors who later became stars, including Margot Kidder, Andrea Martin, Lynn Griffin, and Nick Mancuso. I think the movie's okay, but not really satisfying. There have been better scary movies. Olivia did, however, make a good heroine for the film. Louisa Khovanski. She's an internet girl, originally from the Ukraine. Louisa actually has a lot of different talents and side interests such as writing, painting, and cooking, to name a few. But the only one people really know her for is dressing in little outfits showing off her large endowments. Do you think anyone would believe she was an elf? Mitzi Gaynor. She was an actress, singer, and dancer, and scorching hot for the entirety of her long, long career. I enjoyed her work quite a bit, and that's saying a lot, because I'm not a musical guy. and she did a lot of musicals. Although that's not all she did. One of my favorite things she did was the movie The Birds and the Bees, where she played opposite of George Gobel. It's extremely underrated. Check it out. She wears that Christmas outfit pretty well, but does anyone else think that tree looks spindly? Like maybe it's just 1 or 2 notches above Charlie Brown's tree? Dorothy Black. She is, how do I say this, one of those girls who makes the naughty no-no films. But these pictures are clean, if not extremely sexy. Erika Jordan. She's another one who has done the naughty no-no stuff, but is a bit closer to mainstream. She even did a movie with Chris Pine and a lot of other big stars called Stretch. She did famous B movies like Sharknado 3, and has done other non-adult movies, but almost always plays up her sexiness. Well, I don't see her playing a preschool teacher. Linda Vaughn. My goodness, do I love Linda Vaughn. I think most guys do. She was basically the mascot for automotive racing from the 1960s to even today. Linda started out as a beauty queen and was hired by the Hearst Car Parts Company, specifically to promote their golden shifter. She was known for many, many years as Miss Hearst, and was even given her own troupe of girls called the Hearstettes. Linda ultimately became the ambassador for all things motor racing and its biggest promoter. The spectacle of her is what drew a lot of people to stock car racing back in the day. She dressed up in lots and lots of outfits, but this Santa outfit, complete with go-go boots, has to be one of the hottest. Ginny Poussin. She is a French-Canadian internet girl who does a lot of clean stuff among the not-so-clean stuff. She has a big focus on fitness and is always pretty toned up in her pictures. Ginny does a lot of cosplay and is into some heavy nerd stuff like superheroes, sci-fi, horror, and fantasy. What I think is novel about the pictures I'm showing you is that she did one with reindeer antlers, which is quite unusual to see. You'll see Santa outfits and maybe even elves, but reindeers are not the easiest to make sexy. Ginny pulls it off with style. Workbasket magazine models. If you had a mother, grandmother, aunt, or just knew some old lady who lived somewhere, you probably came across a Workbasket magazine. These were very, very common to see when I was growing up. Although aimed towards women, these had a lot of cool how-to things that guys could even do. It wasn't all about knitting and cooking. It's a shame that this magazine doesn't exist anymore, because a lot of people could get a lot of good out of them. Anyway, you usually saw a woman on the cover and modeling the clothes you could make inside. Many of these women were young and very attractive. Although the clothes and hairstyles obviously date these pictures a bit, look at their faces. Have you ever noticed that women from the 1980s and back had prettier facial features than a lot of women who are more current? Why the change? Phyllis Coates. I'm a huge Phyllis Coates fan. She was in lots and lots of TV shows and movies. She was the first Lois Lane on the Adventures of Superman TV series. She did a ton of westerns, and even sci-fi stuff among other B movies. She had a great figure and a personality that just projected sexiness. I don't think she had to work at it too hard. And last but not least, the pinup girls. I think everyone likes pinup girl art. My mother likes pinups. She's always said that it's about as sexy as you can get while still being very classy, and I have to agree. Pinup artists perfected the art of the tease, and over the years, there have been many greats. I hope you enjoyed this video. Merry Christmas from me and Babe of the Day, Babe of the Day.